All right, boys and girls, in just a minute we're going to continue with Judy Moody, but first, let's review our words for the last time, because remember, your test is tomorrow. So we have our eh sound, head, deaf, our air words, where, bear, our words, herd, perch, clerk, earth, and our long E sound, team, streak, cheek, creek. Now, remember we have the word competition, we have to have a winner. Create means to make. And then today I've added the word endangered. When we talk about endangered, we're talking about animals that we're worried that they might go away, they might become extinct, like dinosaurs are no more because they were endangered and then they were just gone. And so we have many types of animals right now that are endangered because of the fact that we are cutting down too many trees in the rainforest, or we're not taking care of the earth. And so we'll read more about that in our book today. All right, we are going to continue with Judy Moody Saves the World by Peter Reynolds. This chapter is called Pigtoes, Pumas, and Pimplebacks. At school, Judy wiggled all during math in the morning. She squirmed through spelling. At last, it was science. Over half the world's plants and animals are found in rainforests, Mr. Todd said, which is why it's so important to protect the rainforest. The health of our whole planet depends on it. But did you know that there are endangered species right here in Virginia? Endangered species right here in Virginia? Judy leaned forward in her seat. If we want to take care of our planet, it helps to begin in our own backyard. That's why I'm asking each of you to adopt an endangered animal from Virginia this week. Tell us about the species, why it's disappearing, and what can be done to help. Adopt an animal? She could help the endangered species. She, Judy Moody, could save the entire state of Virginia. Mr. Todd was shaking a coffee can. Each slip of paper has the name of one endangered animal on it. When I call on you, come up and take one slip of paper from the can. Who wants to be first? All hands went up in the air. You have to look at it real careful, but there's the coffee can with the slips of paper. Rocky? Shenandoah salamander, said Rocky, reading his slip of paper. Frank Pearl? Monkey-faced mussel. Rare. Judy waved her hand in the air like a flag. Mr. Todd still did not call on her. Brad got the bald eagle. Haley got the puma. Randy got the leatherback sea turtle. Jessica Finch? Shiny pigtoe, said Jessica. Yippee! Judy could not think of anybody else that would want to adopt a pig's toe. Only Jessica Finch. Jessica Finch liked anything about pigs, even shiny pigtoes. While Mr. Todd called out more names, Judy turned around and said to Jessica, a shiny pigtoe is a pig with nail polish. She cracked her own self up. Here's a picture of the classroom. We'll read that before I continue. Judy Moody? Judy turned around. Her hand was the only one still left in the air. One left, said Mr. Todd. Come on up. Finally, Judy unfolded the small slip of paper. Northeast beach tiger beetle, she read. Northeast beach tiger beetle? A northeast beach tiger beetle was not even an animal. It was a bug. An ickety-crickety old creepy crawly. If we don't like ours, can we trade? Judy asked. I'd like everybody to stick with their choices, said Mr. Todd. What if we've never even heard of it? What if we don't know what it looks like, said Judy. That's the fun of it, said Mr. Todd. Find out. Go to the library and look at books and magazines, or search the web at the computer lab. And this Thursday, we'll be taking a class field trip to the museum, which should have information on all of your adopted animals. Big museum or little museum? Asked Frank. Little, said Mr. Todd. The class groaned. The big museum meant the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C., or the one with all the planes. The little museum meant the Science Museum down the street. It had toy trains, plastic dinosaurs, and 100-year-old pictures of Virginia stuff. The best exhibit there is cobwebs, said Rocky. When Thursday came, Judy wore her tiger-striped pajama pants to school in honor of the tiger beetle. At the museum, Mr. Todd introduced the class to the museum lady. This is Miss Stickley. She's going to tell us about the endangered species in Virginia. Mrs. Stickley looked like a stick bug. Even her socks were brown. Call me Stephanie, said Miss Stickbug. Class, said Mr. Todd, I expect you to give Stephanie your best third-grade listening ears. Frank pretended to take off his ears and hand them to her. Judy cracked up. Miss Stephanie Stickbug took them on a tour of where the wild things aren't. She showed them a real live Shenandoah salamander, a Virginia fringed mountain snail that looked extremely sluggy, and a stuffed flying squirrel glued to a board. A flying squirrel? Is his name Rocky, like in Rocky and Bullwinkle? Asked Frank. Yes, said Miss Duckbug. As a matter of fact, it is. His name is Rocky, too, said Frank, pointing at Rocky. Hey, Rocky, you're a squirrel. And you're Bullwinkle, said Rocky. You're a moose. Ha. Judy was dying to ask Miss Stickbug a question. Before we do that, this is everybody at the museum. They look like they're having more fun than Judy makes it sound, doesn't it? But she wanted to ask a question. She raised her hand, holding it as straight as a short-nosed sturgeon. At last, Stephanie called on her. Do you have any northeast beach tiger beetles? Asked Judy. No, I'm sorry, we don't, said Stephanie. Those are endangered in Virginia, and that would be a good specimen for our collection. What kind of endangered species museum did not have any northeast beach tiger beetles? Do you have any cave isopods? Asked Jessica Smarty Pants Finch. What's an isopod? Asked Rocky. An isopod is a crustacean, like a sowbug, answered Stephanie. Think of it, like a pillbug or a woodlouse. You'll find those in Arachnid Hall. Ick! A louse is lice, said Rocky. Judy still didn't see why they didn't have any northeast beach tiger beetles. After all, they had a bunch of creepy crustacean, licey isopods, and pillbuggy pests. Judy raised her hand again. She wanted to sound as smart as Jessica Finch. Excuse me, she said. Do you have any two-toed sloths here? Tropical tree hoppers? Nocturnal eyes? We don't have a rainforest exhibit, said Miss Stinkbug. But it's a great idea, maybe someday. The whole class got to touch an orange-foot, pimpleback, pearly mussel shell and hear a story about a dismal swamp shrew. Everything in this whole place is endangered, said Frank. My grade in science is endangered too, said Judy. All right, that's where we're going to stop for today. But, all right, so the class doesn't like going to that museum because it's just little and old, and I'm guessing that they've been there before. She called her Miss Stickbug because everything about her was brown, even her clothes and her socks, and so Judy wasn't very impressed with her. But Judy's a little frustrated because they had all these endangered species, but they still didn't have the one that she's interested in. So she still doesn't have any information on her animal that she's got to do this project on. So now she's worried about her grade in science. So we'll see if she gets some more information tomorrow. Thanks for listening.